So hi, my name's Ross. How's it going? Some of you may already know me, ladies, and I'd like to talk to you about a few things like football and engines and bricklaying, and I feel as though I may have lost some of you there, ladies. I also like to tell you about a time that I had sex. I say a time, I mean the time. I recently found out you can do it more than once. So my outlook on the future is once again positive, and my therapist is confident I can come off the medication soon enough. So good things there. Sex is amazing. Sex is like the best thing that you can do with another person. I claim that many of you are probably hoping to test this very night, ladies. I was in the park one day, reading a book and smoking a joint, and a police officer came over to me, so I got rid of the joint real quick. And he said, "What do you think you're doing?" I said, "I think I'm reading a book." "Why? What does it look like I'm doing?" He said, "Are you trying to get smart?" I said, "Yes." I was done with a lady police officer one time, and I said, "Yeah, I like to see a woman in uniform, you know." And she said, "Oh, is that because you're proud of your nation for moving beyond outdated stereotypes and towards a future of gender equality for all?" I said, "No, I just like to see a woman in uniform." And she said, "Oh, well, I like to see a man in handcuffs." And I thought, "Ooh, kinky, you know." And then later on that night, when the judge finally released me, I thought it wasn't really worth going through all that trouble just for one silly little joke. And maybe looking back, you know, I probably should have at least smacked her arse while I was there. Yeah. By the way, that is the tone of some of my comedy. So if anybody is like hyper feminist or sensitive to sort of sexism or whatever, now might be a good time for you to take a step outside in the fresh air, maybe have a cigarette or a load of cyanide, I don't know. Yeah, so I was walking down the road the other day, and I saw a nun balancing on a clown's shoulders. I thought, that's kind of verging on ridiculous. I was walking down the road the other day, and these four guys in football jerseys went past me the other way, and as they were going past, the one on the end sort of went, "Come on, the boys in blue." And just for a second I thought, does he want me to come on the boys in blue? Imagine being so impressed with a sports personality that you would allow them to ejaculate on your child. Come on, my son. I was walking down the road the other day with my mate Paddy, and I stopped to tie my shoelace, and he looked back and he said, "There's a woman back there on crutches pushing a pram." I said, "Maybe you should go back and offer to push the pram for a while." He says, "No, I'll go back and offer to carry the crutches for a bit." I was walking down the road the other day through Temple Bar, past the Wall of Fame, and I looked up at, you know, Sinead O'Connor and Phil Lynott, and I thought, one day I'll be up there drawing a moustache on Bono. I was walking down the road the other day, and I came across a One Direction concert. I just kept going. I was walking down the road the other day, and I looked back, and I thought, that was the fucking best road I've ever walked down in my life. I was having an argument with a little goth kid one time, and he said, "Yeah, well, maybe you just don't understand goth." And I said, "Of course I understand goth. It's goth that doesn't understand me. Nobody understands me." My flatmate came into me one time, and she was in an argument with people on the internet, and she said, "Why is Facebook full of dickheads?" I said, "Because the only people willing to be friends with you are dickheads." I don't know. I went into a cafe one time, and I had a sandwich and a coffee, and I finished my sandwich and my coffee, and I thought, I'll go back up and get another coffee. So I went back up, and I saw on the counter there was a sign that said, "We'd love to have your feedback," so I threw up all over the counter. I went to a Christian Brothers school, and you can always tell you're in a Christian Brothers school because of the scratch marks on the toilet seat. Paranoia is an interesting one, right? Because if you think everybody's looking at you and you walk around like this, everybody starts looking at you. So where was I? So this German guy walks into a bar, but it was way funnier when anybody else did it. Like, people think I'm racist for telling that joke, but it's not actually racist. Studies have shown that German people just laugh at fewer jokes than any other nation on the planet. It's a fact. It's not my fault if they don't get it. Still too racist. I got balanced it out a bit. So this English guy walks into a bar, and suddenly everything was a little bit less fun. Still too racist. Okay, fair enough. Right, so this black guy doesn't walk into a bar. Oh, no, wait, hang on a second. This guy walks into a bar of chocolate. Yeah, made himself really small. Had to eat his way out from the inside. Spent the night in a hollowed out hazelnut under a raisin skin blanket, dreaming about salad, probably. I says joke walks into a punchline. I'm not sure where that's going. This guy walks into a situation that didn't make any sense, and then a turkey self-image annihilation structure position. This guy walks into a surreal moment surrounded by heightened imaginations, creating ever-changing psychedelic notation of an infinite possibility. But he didn't really get it, so he just sort of left again. Yeah, I form wildly prejudiced opinions on people, but don't judge me for it. This is my left hand, and as you can see, there's something not quite right about it. I feel really bad about pity. Yeah. Oh, let me see. Where are we now? Drugs. Drugs are great. Drugs aren't great. Don't do drugs. But drugs, I'd like to tell you about drugs. Cannabis comes from a part of the world where it's really fucking hot. All the food gives you diarrhea, and they used to eat people. Cocaine comes from a part of the world where everybody's a fucking criminal and is armed with a submachine gun, and they're pointing them at you. Opium comes from a part of the world where I'm led to believe everyone's a fucking ninja, and you have to walk in amongst all of these criminals and cannibals and ninja and ask them if you can please purchase large quantities of illegal narcotics. And they say how much, and if you don't say at least 200 grand, they're going to kill you. And then you've got to take your 200 grams worth of drugs back home through the most advanced and paranoid security system that the world has to offer, where men have bigger machine guns and better ninja and dogs that probably still eat people. And how do you get it through? I've heard that a popular method is to stick the drugs up your bum, which, like, yeah, fair enough, but who does that? Like, who's the guy that volunteers on the stag do in Colombia to be that guy? Yeah, I'll do that, no problem. Yeah, I do it all the time, it's fine. How do you practice that? How do you just, like, what's the first time? Anyway, yeah. You can always stick them up a whale's bum, you know, but it's very uncomfortable to be the person sitting on a plane in the seat next to a fucking blue whale, you know. And how do you get them through security? You'd need like a really big black suit and like massive dark sunglasses and a huge hat that would fit over your car. Yeah, so basically it's very difficult to get drugs to you. So look, next time somebody offers you some drugs, do them a favor, just say yes. I was smoking some cannabis one time. I wanted to put that as marijuana in the script, but the autocorrect on my phone wouldn't let me. Nah, I'm only messing, I just can't spell marijuana. Anyway, so I was smoking some cannabis one time, you know, after a few beers, and I took a line of cocaine just as I was coming up on this ecstasy tablet. And then I remembered that about 2 hours beforehand I'd taken some acid that was just starting to kick in, and I looked down at the needle in my arm, and I thought, whoa, it felt really weird, and everything started to go a bit, but I really felt like I was going to lose control, you know, so I just took a deep breath, yeah, and I put the car back in third gear, you know. Hope my driving instructor didn't notice. It's a fun time, yeah. Watch the road. I can't, there's a fucking massive inconspicuous hat over the car. Yeah. Right, so I was in Galway, at the Galway Arts Festival, doing some street performance, and I was taking my friend's dog for a walk, a little Jack Russell Terrier. I went into a shop and I bought a scratch card, and I went back outside, and they were scratching off this scratch card. It was 2, 4, 50 quid. So I went back into the shop, slammed it in on the counter, and I said, 50 quid, please, young lady. And she goes, yeah, there you go, 50 quid. Fantastic. And I walked out of there, right, and I'd left the shop with more money than I had when I went in. I thought, like, as a bit of a hippie, I thought this was great. I'd sort of beaten capitalism, like I'd won the shop competition or something. It was great. Anyway, so I walked down the road to a pub called T. Cody's. I love hanging out there. And I went inside and I said, the barman says to me, sorry, we don't allow pets in here. And I said, oh, this isn't my pet, this is my seeing eye dog. And he looks down at the dog and he says, don't they use golden retrievers for seeing eye dogs? I said, why, what did I get? He said, oh, very funny. And I said, no, look, I noticed on the way in that the door is broken, needs a new lock. So you let me stay. He gives a pint and the dog will fix the door because he's a blacksmith. And the barman said, pull the other one. I said, I did pull the other one. It was the whole seeing eye dog bit. You didn't fall for it, so I'm trying this now. And I said, no, look, I'll prove it. So I went over to the fireplace and I took a poker and I put it into the fire. And I waited for a while and I took it out when it was glowing red hot and I pointed it at the dog and I said, I'm going to shove this right up your arsehole, mate. And the dog made a bolt for the door. Yeah, so the barman said, well, that's amazing. Pretty good. Here's your point. The dog can stay. And in fact, he presses a button underneath the counter and all of a sudden there's disco lights and music and awesome sexy chicks and black people and Michael D. Higgins and a llama who worked in a sandwich shop called the Deli Llama. And I went in and I'm dancing, we're having fun, and the dog's over in the corner, you know, taking lines of cocaine with the president, and, you know, we're all having a great time. And suddenly there is this absolutely beautiful blonde bombshell of a girl standing right in front of me. She was amazing, really pretty, big, beautiful blue eyes and a massive set of hands, you know. She said her name was Helga from Sweden or something. I didn't really pay attention, I didn't care. And we're dancing and doing the thing, and she whispers in my ear, do you want to leave now? And I got a little bit paranoid, so I sort of said, are you going to leave with me? And she said, yes, of course. And my erection immediately punched me in the chin. I don't like to brag, but I've actually got an 18-inch long chin. So we left, myself and Helga. And I'd like to say that what followed was a beautiful romantic walk home through the streets of Galway or whatever city this lie is taking place in. But it was more like a drunken, drug-fueled rub-off up against every lamppost and dumpster in town, trying to get a horny, coked-up dog to stop pumping my leg. We eventually got back to Helga's place, and we left the dog in the sitting room with this crack-addicted alley cat that he picked up along the way. I warn you, drugs do strange things. Take Sigmund Freud, for example, who said that every man secretly wants to have sex with his mother. Which is a dubious claim, considering if I took as much cocaine as Sigmund Freud took, I would also want to have sex with his mother. And she's been dead and buried for a very long time. Anyway, so the cat and the dog are in there, completely oblivious to how angry God was going to be at the inevitable offspring that the two of them would produce. And that's how we invented cogs. And myself and Helga went into the bedroom and we're doing the rubbing and the sexing and the squeezing and everything is going really well. And we got into bed, and I'm just about to sort of, you know, when suddenly, with the immaculate timing that only a woman can produce in situations like this, Helga says to me, do you have a condom? I thought, fuck, I haven't got a condom. I sort of had to stop on, nearly turned her bed into a swimming pool for tiny tadpoles. So I thought, all right, condom. I got out of bed, and I grabbed the 50 quid out of my wallet, and I ran back up to the shop, and I slammed it down, 50 quid down on the counter, and said, packet of condoms, please, young lady. And she looks at me like I've got 50 heads. And I thought, what the fuck? And I looked down and I suddenly realised that before leaving Helga's place, I'd forgotten to get dressed. So I was like, fuck. And I grabbed the 50 quid and I ran out of the shop. And I'm there trying to hide myself behind a €50 note, which isn't the easiest thing in the world to do. Thinking, what the fuck am I going to do? And I looked across the road and there's this woman walking down the street with her daughter, about 9 years old. Very young to have a daughter, I know, but yeah, modern day. The two of them look at me, and the woman screamed and just fucking ran. She was gone looking for a therapist and some Valium. And the little girl is just frozen stiff, clinging onto her school bag, don't know what to do. And then I thought to myself, hang on a second, it's Saturday. That's not a school bag. She's on her way to like basketball practice or hockey practice. And like, there's a tracksuit in there that I can squeeze my way into. So we'll sort this out. So I ran across the road, and I beat the shit out of the little girl. Left her there in a pool of kind of blood and broken bones and stuff. And I grabbed her school bag and I opened it up, and to my shock and horror, discovered that she was not on her way to ballet, to basketball practice or hockey practice. She was in fact on her way to ballet practice. So I pulled out this tiny little tutu going, okay. I thought, hang on a second, it's Galway Arts Festival, everything's a bit ridiculous, so I can get away with this, it'll be fine. So I got into the tutu. Yeah, and I took out the 50 quid. I went back into the shop and I slammed it down on the counter and I said, packet of condoms, please, young lady. And the woman says, what size do you want? And I sort of looked down and thought, I don't know, what do you reckon, medium? She said, no, do you want the 12-pack or the 3-pack? And I said, all right, I'll just take the 3-pack. You know, I'm kind of pushing my luck with this story as it is. So she grabs off the shelf and she goes, beep, that'd be $4.99, please. I said, why did you say beep? She said, I know, it's a boring job. I said, fair enough. So I handed her the €50 note. And she hands me back a 1 cent coin and like 45 euro coins. And I'm looking at all this change like, what the fuck? And she says to me, I'm sorry, I haven't got anything bigger. And I said, let's just hope you're the only one of us who has to say that tonight. Thanks so much.